Blessed love royal family, honorable priest Isaac here, glorifying Haile Selassie I, reporting live and direct from Ethiopia. And many people are asking, who is the leader for Rastafari? We will be definitely not only answering that, or at least giving you our insight, but we will be also giving you a small report of what is taking place here in Ethiopia, the tiger's nest. Blessed love, I am the Honorable Priest Isaac. I am an official priest within the realms of Rastafari of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. I also hold a certification in the craft of Astronomy from Politecnico di Milano in Italy. Our universe and its makeup has always been an intriguing subject for humankind. Astronomy is the study of everything in the universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Ancient astronomy is similar, but pays special attention to the physical and spiritual values of stars, planets, moons, and other celestial objects. It also brings in the terrestrial component, being things on an earthly plane, such as plants, human organs, and connects them to the heavenly bodies. In this course, you will learn the makeup of various planets and stars, how to locate them in the night sky, along with their associated constellations. You will also be taught about the earliest civilizations known for their astronomical comprehension, namely Kush, also known as ancient Ethiopia, Kemet, called Egypt today, the Dogons, and the Bozos, as well as the civilization of Sumer. You will also learn about black holes, their nature and origin, as well as how the ancients viewed them. Ancient astronomy is the mother of archaeoastronomy and astrotheology. Both subject areas are covered by the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Sign up today. Visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, or email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com, for more information. And we do say salam to Tenestelin, also Melkam Adis Amet Amasakanal. As we say, blessed and happy New Year, Ethiopian New Year, the 11th of September. We give thanks once again. We welcome you into the Tiger's Nest, and of course, officially reporting from the land of origins, reporting really from the roof of Africa, reporting from the top of the world, reporting from Addis Ababa. We are here in Ethiopia, Abyssinia royal family, Honorable Priest Isaac here with you. And we're very thankful, giving all praises to the Most High for such an opportunity to be in the land of the God and King himself, Negusa Nagas. What a joy to be in the position to walk in the palace of the Most High, the palaces of Haile Selassie I, the throne room of himself, and even the great Menelik II, to even observe their wardrobe, and even to handle machinery. It is a joy once again to be in the house of the Lord. Holy Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Royal family, for those who may be joining us for the first time, I give thanks for your presence. This is the Tiger's Nest. And of course, we come to you with joy and happiness in the name of Haile Selassie I. The Black Christ, the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards Order is what we are ambassadors and representative of. And of course, we just saw the conclusion of the African Climate Summit, the second thereof, and of course the African Union CARICOM Summit as well. And we are honored once again that we could have played a diplomatic role even in both of these events. And of course, many of you would have observed that we had a strong campaign since the beginning of 2025. We also invited the whole of the conscious community, those of you who had the interest to be on board of such a mission, to join us in Ethiopia. We also reached out to those who know that you would not be able to be with us, but to support in one way or the other, whether it's to advertise with us, whether it is to take up one of our offers as it relates to our fundraiser program, or whether it is just to donate to the mission. So I'm very thankful for those of you, however few it may be, that would have stepped up to the plate to assist in this very expensive mission. But we give thanks to Rastafari for such strength and resilience to go the full way. Family, we are here celebrating the fact that we could have presented our cause. And our cause, as you would know, we have several causes, yet still the same cause. Of course, representing the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of Salvation. I am the chairman of the Antigua and Barbuda branch, officially registered, and we would have even presented our documents to the Prime Minister of this land and the President as well, of course, through representatives. Even as co-founder of Rastafari Experience Antigua, we would have presented also our messages to the Ministry of Tourism, and our concerns as well were also aired at the climate summit, at least to the levels that we were given permission to expose or to express our concerns as it relates to sustainability for sacred sites. But anyway, family, the point is we have several reports to bring to you. Even this program in itself is a level of reporting. Many of you have not sat down with myself virtually or otherwise in a moment. And that is because even just to prepare for this mission, to make sure that it can be done, and to balance off all the other things that life expects from you. Of course, it would take time. That is why we always call for teamwork. That is why we expect those who have a conscious outlook on reality, those who at least see the vision that you have, those that understand the goals that we are setting, to come on board in one way or the other. That's why we always have different avenues for you to come on board. When the program began, you heard an ad as it relates to astronomy, the rudiments of astronomy. That's a course that we have, the rudiments of astronomy. That will benefit not only yourself, your children, even generations to come. You hear me say from time to time that that is one of the most outstanding courses on astronomy. When we highlight our report, you will see pictures of the Science Museum that we would have seen here in Ethiopia. And again, observing the technology that is here in Ethiopia, not only the Science Museum, when we visited the Battle of Adwa Museum, again, the technology and the innovative ideas that you see expressed here. It is only, delights the soul, at least my soul, my heart, as we are trying our best to utilize technology in all that we express, even our magazines, technology. And again, family, this is what we had the opportunity to express at these institutes that we visited to show them, the works that we are doing, especially at the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. So we went representing the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. We went representing Rastafari Experience Antigua. And of course, we went representing the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of True Divine Salvation. Now, that is only natural. There's no way on earth we can go anywhere and not represent the EABIC, whether an individual may believe we were sent or not. I would just like to highlight to the family, I wouldn't be taking up too much of your time this evening. And the question that we will be answering, I'm not even sure if you want to call it answering, but just showing our opinion on it. Maybe that's the best way to put it as it relates to who is the ruler or leader or the commander, who is in charge of the Rastafari nation. And the reason why I brought up that question is because, like many questions you see me bring up, that's what people are asking. Eh? Even right here in Ethiopia, people are asking that. People are even assuming, even on the diplomatic level. I was even introduced to others as the head of the Rastafari community. That's interesting, But for sure, I'm not putting any hat on my head. Let me be clear. I am not putting any hat on my head that I'm not in the position to wear. I myself, I know that I have been chosen by the Most High to do a specific work, and I do not wait on people to give me the go ahead. I do not wait on people to agree with my ideas. I just get up and I go. Don't get me wrong, as you all see, almost everything that we perform, we bring it to the people. We don't just bring it to the internet. We have a community, we bring it to the people. We go on the radio station, we live in a nation, we bring it to the people. Anyone that knows us knows that almost everything that we do, that we consider important, that we do for the betterment of our people, we always bring it to the nation, always with some creative ideas and ways and means that everybody can contribute. Maybe we're just thinking, too far ahead, I don't know. But many times we're just left on our own to go ahead and do it. Let's see it and see if it's done. And that's exactly what took place as it relates to the African Union CARICOM conference and the African Climate Summit. Now, of course, there's so many things that we would have observed. I mean, so many speakers, so many side conferences, so many mini presentations. Wow. So many documentaries, um, after parties, and so many other things. So again, we will have to put all of this in not only a report, but we are creating several reports. Even again, this little session of discussion that we're having here, in one way or the other, is somewhat of a report, somewhat bringing you up to speed, giving you an idea of what we would have seen. And then at the same time, as I said earlier, we would have visited the Battle of Adwa Museum. We would have also visited the 1954 Palace of the King. We would have visited the King's Throne Room, which is in Unity Park. That is different now from the Palace of 1934, I should say. That was built in 1934, pardon me. The Palace of 1954, that is the Grand Palace now. That as well is at Unity Park. We also visited the Menelik II Palace and many other, the Princess's Palace and many other important monuments, even at Unity Park as well. So let me just highlight to you even some of the photos that we would have taken. Some of you may have seen some of these photos, whether it's on Instagram or whether it's on the what you call that stuff, the Facebook. And this is us here present at the climate summit, one of those days specifically. Here you see us as well. This is the Honorable Professor Sheikh Ramal Jamal El, representing the Moorish Science Temple of America. And they were a part of our delegation at the both the African Union CARICOM summit. They would have played a very significant part, specifically in the African Union CARICOM summit and also the African Climate Summit as well, part two. So we definitely say enough respect to the Sheikh, definitely very outspoken, very knowledgeable, professor in philosophy as it relates to the great Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and a soldier on the front line, a journalist and a reporter within himself. And you will be getting a report or some aspect of a report, even if it's part of our report, joint report within our self and the Moorish science of America. So we're thankful again. Salute to the professor, Sheikh Ramal Lamar El. He is an L. In the Moorish Science Temple, you have the L's and you have the Bays. The brother is an L, and again, very upstanding and thoughtful and loving and caring brother. Because that's another thing. We had to meet the people. I don't mean just the delegates. We went out into the streets. We met the old people. We met the young people. We learned the culture. You understand? We had to secure each other too, in and out of the different, if you want to say, positions. Many things went down, and I'm still here. And I'm still here, so there's much more for me to see and to partake of. So give thanks again for the delegation that came. I'm talking about the brother himself and his temple and those who are with him. He is again Professor Ramal El, Lamar El. Beautiful, beautiful. You also see us here in a reasoning and a discussion within this is the climate summit itself. As I said, there were so many different compartments. It wasn't just like a big stage. You had a big stage and you had many other stages that were maybe not as big, but were big as well. And then you had different booths and you had different pavilions. There was just so many different activities, a hive of activities, as they would say, taking place each and every day. Of course, the opening day, as I said, it was two summits, by the way. So you had the heads of states at the opening, you had the Prime Minister from Antigua and Barbuda, the Honorable Gaston Brown, you had the Honorable Mayor Muttley from Barbados. Of course, you had the Honorable Prime Minister of Ethiopia, one Abiy Ahmed Ali. And then at the same time, there was the grand opening now of the dam, that is the Gerg. We did not attend that. That took place close to up at Lake Tana, some distance away. But at the same time, while that was taking place, the summit was still going on. So again, there were different things that were happening at the same time. So that also was a big event, a big affair here in Ethiopia. Everyone was really speaking about it, the whole aspect of the opening of the dam. In fact, there was a little tension in the summit where the Egyptian representative really brought up the dam, showing that they were not pleased with how Ethiopia is going forward with this dam situation. And for those of you who know, we cover this every now and again as it relates to the progress of the dam. In fact, for the last 2 years, every month we would touch upon the dam. In fact, we would have written about the dam in several of our ambassadors' pen. So again, very important conversation, because remember, the people in Egypt now and the people in Sudan, northern Sudan, or Sudan as they call it, the impression we're getting is that the governments are not too pleased, because obviously the fact that the dam is damming the water from Lake Tana, which is a key source of the Nile, apparently they believe that is going to affect them downstream. But even at the opening of the dam, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia said that this is not going to affect anyone. The technology that they have in this dam would provide the levels, not only giving them sufficient water, but also solving the problem of flooding, because there is an issue with flooding too, you know. So, but whatever the case is, at least for a decade, Egypt and Sudan and Ethiopia have been sitting around the table trying to figure this damn situation out. I sound like a cursing there, this damn situation out, you know, but it has not been formalized as yet at all, at all. In fact, there was again an after party, from my understanding, after the dam was inaugurated, and Egypt and Eritrea were not invited. You know, I learned that right here. That was the talk. Egypt and Eritrea were not invited. That is something else. Eh? So, and but still, as if it's not today, it was yesterday. Yesterday, the Day of Peace, the United Nations Day of Peace. We all definitely hope for peace. In fact, the first ambassador's pen that we brought out was actually entitled "Peace in the Horn of Africa." Here we are with one of the brothers from the delegation coming out of Ghana. There at this is the climate summit itself, where we Joe Bell Butter. You also see me here. This is in the office, if I'm not mistaken, of the King of Kings, Negus and Nagas. This is at the Palace of 1934. This is the same palace that became the university. This was turned into a university. And of course, you know, Addis Ababa University, the day that I went there, it was considered to be Children's Day, Youth Day. And I kid you not, there were like about 500 children, beautiful children, just moving around in the yard. They didn't have too much of adult supervision at all. And that's another thing, you know. I mean, I haven't seen it all, but Ethiopia is a very peaceful place. Although everyone is telling you, hold your bag close, and they're going to snatch this and they're going to snatch that. My brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, when I walk through, you know, it's astonishment. When they see the lengthy guard, I'm telling you, people bow to the ground for the eye. I'm just showing you what's going on. Eh? Some say Rastafari, some say Jamaican, but they know what's going on, you know. And this is another thing. You know, I would be, you know, of course, we have our guidances, we have our paraphernalia as it relates to the King of Kings. I have not showed anyone a picture of the King of Kings and they did not receive it in delight. Every person, even the young, that I say, look at this. You know who that is? Yes, that's Haile Selassie. That's my king. You know, the impression you would get. And don't get me wrong, because I even visited, I visited the Red Terror Memorial. And I will, again, in the different reports that we have to bring out, I will highlight more on the Red Terror Memorial, you know. And we are sure that the Derg tried their best to erase the history, not just of Damawe Haile Selassie, but anything that had to do with him and his own. But I'm telling you, this is just my personal experience. my reporting, my journalism, my fact finding. You know who this is? Of course, that is our king. That is Haile Selassie or Kadamawe. John Hoy. One man said, oh, John Hoy. See? And I'm not speaking of elders alone, people my age and younger, people in their 30s and what appears to be maybe their 20s. Oh, yes, man and woman, and I did it much too. I had it, I did it much. Your brother did it much, because we're here to make sure, the King of Kings name is, if you want to say it, you don't see anything around. There's nothing around really that reminds you of Haile Selassie, nothing that I see. I've seen maybe a sticker on a bus, and that's once I noticed that. And of course, you go to the museum, you see it. And when we visited the Hilton Hotel, you see some portraits of the emperor there as well. But it's not something highlighted anywhere. When you're driving in the big city, and Addis Ababa is a massive city. This ain't no joke town to play with. A massive, massive compound. Really, um, to the level of, it's almost like, to be honest, going through, I said, this is like London. London definitely cannot compare with the cleanliness of Addis Ababa. And there's no, I'm just being honest, really. There's no foul smell like when you're in London, tends to have a kind of smell. I mean, I'm just telling you, that's what I live and know, eh? Yeah, I surely don't get that in Addis Ababa. And I'm not playing like I'm comparing anything, because even in Antigua and Barbuda, a lot can be done for the scent of the city. And I'm just telling you as it is, for sure, you know. But Addis Ababa stands out with that, the cleanliness, and definitely it seems to be growing and growing by leaps and bounds. So many construction projects that are taking place even as we pass through. This is what I've seen with my own eyes. This is a coffee house. In fact, just outside of where we are here at Crown Hotel, I would have also had my official first Ethiopian coffee there. And the ceremony, I have it all recorded, and you would see it in due season. So we are very thankful for the opportunity again to fulfill this mission. And, if it must be said, it's sad to say, but there were those that were saying that it can't be done. I just have to tell you. There were those that were betting as if it was a horse race. Can you imagine? Before they came on board and say, yeah, let's assist, they took the money and put it in the betting ring that we wouldn't make it to Abyssinia. I'm not asking you. I could give you name and time. Remember, we have investigators on the case. Eh? But anyway, give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life, Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah Rastafari I, blessed. Now, actually, and even before I go into the question at hand, let me just highlight, the upcoming ambassador's pen will be one of the reports on a journalistic level, the geopolitical journalistic level. You will be getting an official report of this mission to Ethiopia in the ambassador's pen. Don't confuse this report with the report that I will give to the government that I live amongst. Yeah, I do that. I will give them a report. And of course, my government, of which I'm an ambassador and a priest of course, they must get a report. Another aspect of the mission, we had an official conversation with the ambassador to Ethiopia of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of Salvation, which is the Honorable Kes Barasso Babo, who is also known as Honorable Priest Paul. We had a very fruitful discussion. We spoke about the future of the Congress and the hope to see officially establish the parliament, and which is really what I'll be getting to now when it comes to the leadership of Rastafari. But first, again, the upcoming ambassador's pen. I'm hopeful that everyone out there would play a part with the upcoming ambassador's pen. So we are highlighting the what you may call it, the African Union CARICOM Summit and the African Climate Summit. Of course, part two. This is the edition for the next ambassador's pen. So we are giving you an opportunity to advertise now with the next edition of the ambassador's pen. The world will be reading this. I chose that phrase there, that cliche. The world will be reading this because the world will be reading this. So just as we said in our proposal, Royal Family, we will be engaging in business. We would have done that. We would be collaborating as well. We would have done that. So obviously, we have many more people that have subscribed to our ambassador's pen. Maybe not as much as we would have liked, but key people, important people, diplomats and dignitaries and ministers from Ghana, Kenya, different parts of Africa, who we would have, even if we just shared 2 minutes with them, we could have passed the card. They could have taken a QR code and they have our magazines on their phone. Of course, we have their information. We will be keeping in contact, and we started to keep in contact already. Business people, just as I said, we would be doing. That is what we went for, and that is what we did. Obviously, it was a game we were getting into as such. We didn't know exactly what to expect. So maybe the impact would not be exactly what the goal was. But I always teach, make sure you set high goals. So even if you only hit half of the goal, even if you only get 25% of the goal was so high, the goal was so strong, the goal was so powerful that even 25% achieved looks like, wow, that's something else. These brothers and sisters are real powerful because you set yourself, you set your goals, you set your targets high. As I always say, if you want to hit the bullseye, you can't aim at the bullseye. You have to aim a little higher than the bullseye. So the bullseye is a couple of feet over there or several feet away, and you have the bow and arrow and you aim. You can't aim at the bullseye. You have to a little higher, and then you let the arrow go because it's gonna, gravity and it's, different circumstances. Aim high. So this is why the mission was still a success. This is why we could say, well, we would have spoken to this business, this minister, that envoy, that ambassador. They're already reading our magazine. So again, the world will be reading this because this now is actually a report that those who were even at that event would want to see coming from our perspective. So again, Royal Family, you know what to do. All our links they're always in the description below. Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com, Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com. And this is another thing too, the link for the previous ambassador's pen. How many of you saw this ambassador's pen? Because remember, I have not sat with you for a while, and I know maybe when you don't hear my voice, some of you fall asleep, no offense. But this was the ambassador's pen in August when the Honorable Julius Garvey himself would have visited visited us in Antigua. And of course, it was a beautiful exchange that we had. He even met with us as members of the Bobo Shanti. He also partook of the Emancipation Watch Night. See, we highlight in this magazine the alliance of the Sahel state, opening a new bank, so many different things. So the link for this is in the description below. Those of you who did not get that edition of the Ambassador's Pen, you could definitely look into it now. So many different things that we have highlighted within that issue. You should definitely check it out. Beautiful. And of course, we spoke about the upcoming summit which has upcome and came and gone, and it is now basically a memory. And the next edition, we will be highlighting and reporting on what really took place. Beautiful. All right. So remember, the link is in the description below. Good. Now, okay, that's a lot. That was more than I expected. Now, the question is a very important question. Now, if you were to ask, so who is the leader of Rastafari? I don't see nothing wrong with that, because you cannot have a proper governance, a proper organization, a proper anything without leadership. Now, most Rastafari will tell you that the leader is Emperor Haile Selassie I. And of course, then some Bobo Shanti will tell you that the leader is the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Now, it may surprise you, but I don't disagree with none of them answers. In fact, that's the leadership there. Emperor Haile Selassie I. The Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards is the Lord's servant. That is the ambassador of Haile Selassie I. And even in our theological outlook, that's what it is, the Father and the Son. But follow me now. Taking the example of both the Father and the Son. Haile Selassie I, and I would have seen it just passing through, the memoirs of the king, the living memoirs of the king. Haile Selassie I would have established a constitution. Follow me, good, eh? Haile Selassie I would have established the parliament. Watch it good. Haile Selassie I, the Most High, would have taken his power and spread it amongst not necessarily individuals, but offices, to the point that Haile Selassie would have had ideas and initiatives that he would have loved to bring to pass. But because his parliament would have voted against it, he had to go back to the drawing board, so to speak. Now that's interesting. Some people even look down on him for taking the monarchy and giving power to civilians as such. That's the power of Haile Selassie. Many people do not understand what a great reformer he is. The Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, of course, I speak of Bobo Shanti. I cannot speak necessarily as a 12 tribe of Israel member or theocracy of Bingi member, although I'm Bingi man from day one, but still as a priest of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of Salvation. Our worthy founder, leader, God and King in flesh, the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, like our Supreme Almighty I, would have set up a constitution and would have also established a parliament. Now, those of you who are members of this Congress and those of you who stay close to it or even just listen, maybe because you're following up on what maybe I'm doing, you know that there is attempts to make sure the Constitution is in order, or if you want to say reform the Constitution, whatever term you may want to use, because it's obvious everyone may not think of it in the same way. Most ones would admit that we, as Bobo Shanti, are under a government that was established officially to be run by a parliament and even a cabinet and different committees. Now, even if you are, I would use the term stiff-necked, because there are those amongst us who don't seem to be free thinkers, and that's just the truth. I mean, now, if I'm not speaking about you, there's no way you could be offended. Okay. But there are those amongst us that are not free thinkers. We definitely can't think out the box and cannot advance the program that was set for us. Remember, Christ said, greater works than whatever you see me do, you're supposed to do. the hymn says, increase the day that God has blessed. It's talking about the Sabbath, the Lord of the Sabbath. Increase the day that God has blessed. So God has blessed the day. We're supposed to increase it. Greater works than what he did. So what did he do? Well, he made the blind see. Oh, greater works. What else did he do? He made the deaf hear. Oh, greater works. What else did he do? He brought the dead to life. I'm telling you. So if he made the deaf hear, you open a school for the deaf then. Greater works than he did shall you do. Some people are afraid because they think it means they're greater than him. You understand? Read the scripture. Elisha was given a double portion of the spirit of Elijah, but yet still in the account, Elijah was deemed greater than Elisha. So ain't no competition thing, We know who belongs in which seat. Well, in most cases. But the point is that just like the emperor Haile Selassie, the Honorable King Emmanuel laid down a structure where the governing power went to a specific amount of seats or a number of seats. If I'm not mistaken, it's a 32-man parliament and an empress, and you have 14-man committee. And in fact, from my knowledge again, you had different committees that would have risen up at specific times to deal with different issues. That's why we have to be free thinkers and we can innovate and move on and think outside of the box. Now, you see, the thing is, Rastafari, I can say, but I must highlight Bobo Shanti. It is not a Congress for a leader. Like this person is the leader. That is why the leader would have designed it in such a way that you have a organization of well-thinking human beings making the decision. So even on the altar, it is not a preacher or a priest. You have 7 priests upon the altar. Now, every human being don't think exactly the same, but the fact that you have 7 individuals that have been taught this specific craft, that means they can assist each other even when one make a mistake. Hey, no, that's not. Oh, yes, you're correct. And you who are in the congregation, you may not even pick it up because the 7 are working together as one. It's the same thing when you have an organization of 14, the committee, or the parliament of 30 and 3. So a decision has to be made. You have the priests and the prophets and the empresses and the elders and what have you. And we can sit, obviously, in unity and make a decision. Everyone may not see it, but hey, if we have 14 and 10 of us says, yeah, we should do it this way, and 4 of us disagree, and we say, okay, the 4 that disagree, we're going to give you 3 days to come back with a report to detail why you disagree and what can remedy the disagreement. And you're given the 3 days. That's how you set things up, and then they return. And if they cannot prove their point, we move on with the agenda. You see, so it's not necessarily a one person decision, because the one person, the leader, who is the leader? Rastafari. Who is the leader? King Emmanuel. The one person, the leader already showed us that we need to have a committee. We need to have a parliament. And it is supposed to run in this way, in this form. You understand? Now here, this is what I think it needs. The former Libyan leader, Colonel Gaddafi, says that he is not the leader of Libya. This is when he was leading Libya, he was saying this. Now you may say, what? So who was? Colonel Gaddafi refers to himself as the revolutionary leader of Libya, meaning that he led the revolution. You know, he disposed of the fake monarchy or whatever it was that was controlling the people. This is Colonel Gaddafi saying this. So he doesn't really run the affairs. He just makes sure things stay in order. Okay, you may or may not agree with that, but the concept sounds real good. The concept sounds right to me. And from my perspective, that is what is needed amongst us. We need a revolutionary leader. Now, I know many people would sit back and say, oh, brother, yeah, I think you is a, I think you're the, and they will call other names. To be honest, a real revolutionary leader, you don't have to pick them. They just do the job and get it done. Many of you back Captain Ibrahim Chorre, you didn't pick him. You didn't say, yeah, let him go and lead Burkina Faso. He didn't wait on you. He just got the job done. You woke up the morning and saw him on the throne. I said, what? What's going on here? Who's that? What's his name? It took you about a month to get his name correct. Chumre, Tumrik Ibrahim Chorre. Oh, I got it now. Yeah. So a real revolutionary leader don't really wait on people to vote him in or her. It just happens. Hmm? Now, obviously, you can look and see. I think we have leadership. I mean, this is another thing. Leadership is in all of us. You have different ways to express leadership. Some people feel a leader is a big talker. The same Ibrahim Chaudhry, some people don't even know how he sounds. So it's not talk, it's not noise, it's not the most things to say, it's to get the job done. And I will repeat, a revolutionary leader, not a voted leader, not a selected leader, nothing wrong to be selected neither, but a revolutionary leader does not have to wait on the majority to say, yes, he should be the revolutionary leader. No, man, that's back to democracy. Now, revolutionary leaders does put democracy back in place after they take over, some of them. And some of them decided, hey, I'm going to hold on to this for the next 5 years until we really get it right. So we need that. No, Rastafari, no, boss. Rastafari need leadership. Who's the leader of Rastafari? Haile Selassie. Baba Shanti, Emmanuel. Same thing. Okay, fair enough, no problem. I'm not arguing with you. But both the same thing, Rastafari and Emmanuel set up a parliament with a constitution, a governing constitution. That's the leadership there. But let's not be fairy tale-ish and spookified to believe that somehow that's just going to miraculously come to life and be the leader. No. You see, most of us, we stiff-necked, we dress nice, but somehow we're not really ready to move forward. Do a lot of talking, Some of us, we're in the most serious order that exists and we're playing with it. So there's so many things. Sometimes it appears as if we have spies and cutthroats and snitches amongst us too, purposely holding the thing back either through their ignorance or they get paid to do it. Now, I ain't pointing no fingers, but the way that the stuff is, taking so long to turn and churn, you wonder sometimes. Yeah. So this really needs leadership. And as the scripture says, I think it's the Proverbs. If it's not the Proverbs, it's the Psalm. I think it's the Proverbs. You know, when the prince is wealthy, the people rejoice. That means when the right leader has within his or her grasp the right resources, obviously they will do the right thing, because trust me, some of us, the resources will pass through our hands, but what do we go and do with it? Do we do Selassie work? Do we do Emmanuel work? Or we go and pay some bills? Now, of course, we all know we have to. Well, you don't have to, but you live in a system where, sometimes just to make sure Emmanuel work is done properly, you gotta pay bill and the other bill and the next bill. That's why you pay bills. And bill is William, by the way. And you pay the Jews. You gotta pay your Jews, the Jews. So a lot of these criminals, they got to pay. It's all about English, eh? Etymology, the word sound, it's right in it. It's well trapped up. It spells. That's why you spell the words, because it's all a spell. So leadership obviously starts with it. A lot of us, you see, I say that, people say, yeah, that's it, that's it. That's it, because a lot of us, we don't want no real leadership. So we try to fake it out and say, yeah, the leadership is within. It is within. It is. Don't get me wrong. But that doesn't take away from when real leadership steps up, because that's another thing. Some of us, we so comfortable in our enslavement and colonialized state. When the real leader comes and says, let's go. Hmm? Come on, man. How many of you read the story of Noah? Do you consider Noah to be a real leader? Noah that built the boat, or the ark, I should say, not the boat. Noah that built the ark. Do you consider Noah to be a real leader? Nobody followed Noah. But he had his three sons and his three daughters. Oh, come on, man. That's his family, Rasta. His sons, man. His sons and his three daughters as such. Nobody else came into the boat. Animals. Animals came. But the people even mocked Noah. So, oh, what you doing, you crazy old animal? And Noah built the boat. And Noah called in two of every kind, or seven of every kind, depending on which part of the story you read. And then Noah closed the boat with the one window in the boat. That's how it's described, by the way. The boat had one window with all those animals. And the waters came down, and Noah's boat started to float, and the drunken people that were cursing Noah out, the majority of the planet died. Now, was Noah a leader? Noah has gone down in history as a great leader. In fact, the Quran says Allah is the greatest Noah. I know it says Noah, K-N-O-W, but anyway, I shouldn't even have carried you there. But my point is not everybody or every set of people understands leadership when it's in front of them. Now, Noah, in one way, was one of them revolutionary leaders with God on his side, because those who weren't taking him on, they just moved them out the way and continued the mission. That's really what it was. They just moved them out the way and continued the mission. So, Rastafari, I'm telling you, I'm encouraging those of you who are conscious. You can't be sitting back and be murmuring and be saying which Ras not doing this and which man not doing that. And she is the one that he tell to do and she not doing it. And this man supposed to build the school so long And I hear people say things about people that pass on and bury. Oh, Jah, they tell him that he's supposed to there's a baker house and he build a baker house. So we gonna what? You waiting for him to reincarnate to build the baker house? Why not you build the baker house? So if he tell this man to build the school, you waiting on the man to build the school, and we don't have no school. They say when elephants fight, the grass suffers. Here you have big people arguing, old gray beard arguing, and the little children walking away from what they arguing about. Big gray beard, long locks arguing with one another. Oh, it's me. I'm supposed to have it. Oh, it's not them, man. It's me. Oh, and the children walking away from what they're arguing about. So let me be clear here. And this is the truth. This brother here, yes, I know the leadership within me, but I'm not posting up at all to be no leader of nobody. I know myself. I know within myself what I need to attend to. I know within myself my faults. I know where I need to grow. I'm not trying to be in charge of no one, especially when you're dragging dead animals, like if you're trying to beat a dead horse, them kind of thing there. And to be honest, that's the state that we are in for whatever reason. So I just continue to do what I know I can do, which is bring the light and to unravel the mysteries. Do you know more than anything else? That's my heart. Looking into the cosmos and telling you how it connects to the King of Kings in all ways. From the leaf of the tree to the drop of the dew on the morning. We can break it down scientifically and say, look, Haile Selassie right there. You know we would have done it. Whether it's with osmosis or whether it's with photosynthesis, whether it's with the explosion of a supernova, we can detect the presence of the red, gold, and green, and the black 5 point star, and the R, and the lion symbol in everything that nature has to offer you. Even the breeze that blows, eh? The Sabbath days within it. That's my delight, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we do give thanks for the life giver and the keeper of life. Again, give thanks for those of you who would have definitely given us strong support, even if it wasn't on any financial level as it relates to the mission in Ethiopia. But let me say also, family, those of you who are not subscribers to the Tiger's Nest, and all of our Tiger's Nest subscribers, you're definitely going to be engaged with the Tiger's Nest again. I'm encouraging everyone, subscribe to the Tiger's Nest program, family. So you can get the Tiger's Nest each and every evening after we record the Tiger's Nest program. There you will definitely be updated and kept the speed with all the mystics and the happenings around you on another level. So don't be waiting on YouTube saying, but I haven't seen the priest for a long time. Subscribe to the Tiger's Nest family. It is only $20 a month. Now, this is what I'm talking about. For those of you who say, well, leadership and all of that, that's how you support leadership. Leadership doesn't mean it's a boss or the ruler, but they are taking the initiative in some aspect of the work. And those of you who support it, you are showing proper leadership within yourself as well. So those of you who speak about our leaders, the leadership is within us. Okay, fair enough. So again, for those of you who understand the mission, I'm asking you to subscribe to the Tiger's Nest, and you will receive the program every evening. Now, when you do that, even your children will look at you and say, yeah, Daddy is a leader. That's a leadership because he's supporting something that represents our liberation. He's supporting something that represents our redemption. Because don't believe the young ones ain't watching it. You know that. All of you that watch, the young ones are watching with you. Some of your children grew up watching your brother here. You understand? Some of your children have been inspired by your brother here. So even when they see you take a step to engage with your brother, when they see you take a step to subscribe to the Tiger's Nest or advertise in the magazine, which is free, by the way, yeah, they know that, okay, daddy or mommy, she's on board. She really puts her mouth where her money where her mouth is. You understand? And that's what it's all about. So we are supposed to be this government, this Rastafari government, and we don't even support our own. That is sad. No, I'm very serious. We're supposed to be the government within a government. You understand? We're not supposed to nearly think about going to the outside government for any sort of support or any sort of help. When amongst ourselves, we can pool our resources together in righteousness of salvation. Royal Family, I'm inviting you to advertise now with the next edition of the Ambassador's Pen. And of course, as I said earlier, the world will be reading this one, and we will be giving you constant promotion, daily marketing. All of that is involved with the Ambassador's Pen. And, we're just coming off of the conference. We're still here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, still definitely on the grounds doing the works. As I said, fact-finding mission is still on, but of course the summit and the CARICOM summit and the climate summit has already come to a conclusion, and we will be reporting on that in the next Ambassador's Pen in short order. And even the next Kidemi will be highlighting aspects of it that does not get into the Ambassador's Pen. I will be also creating a short documentary on my mission to Ethiopia, video documentary. So you should be looking forward to that one as well. That within itself is a report. And again, as a leader, because as an ambassador, you are a leader. I will be reporting officially in document to my Congress and those within the structure of leadership. You understand? Because we have elders, long-standing members, priests, and ambassador council. That's what leadership is all about. So in true leadership, it's not people and the individual, it's the office. That's why you respect an office. So even if a dude is sitting in the office that you don't like, especially since he got in the office or she got in the office in the right way, whether you voted them into the office, whether by descent they're in the office, or whether they ran the fastest and jumped over the most cows so they get the office, you don't have to like them, but you must respect the office, the seat. So if the seat says, that's what culture is about. If the seat says when you approach the man in the seat, you bow down 3 times, you bow down 3 times, no matter what you think of him, because it's not about him. It's the seat, it's the office. And if he disrespect the office, we have means and ways of removing him from the office. Why? Because we have a constitution, a black print, what they call a blueprint, laws and regulations. That's leadership. Not people and this man here. But again, sometimes you need a revolutionary leader. With power, with authority, not given to him or her. By the masses, because if that was the case, there wouldn't have to be no revolutionary leader, because the masses would have already been revolutionized. So yes, family, advertise with the Ambassador's Pen. Definitely, of course, you could get a half page for only $500. Can you imagine that? And definitely, of course, if you have a business, you have an enterprise. This is another thing. We don't think business wise. This is another thing. We are not entrepreneur enough as Bobo Shanti, as Rastafari to me. Don't get me wrong, some of us, give thanks. But we need to understand that this is life itself. Busyness. Busyness is not necessarily business. Busyness is activity, moral activity, righteous activity, that will assist in sustenance and the growth of our nation. That's it. It's not necessarily work, and it's surely not a job, but it's business, what you're doing, what you have to show, what you can put on the table. For righteousness' sake, all you see us do, you see we keep it in righteousness' sake. We could do other things, you know that. But you keep it in the order of righteousness' sake. So, family, if you have a business, support the ambassador's pen. The deadline for this is Friday, the 19th of September. Friday, the 19th of September. So again, you run a restaurant, you have a car rental, organization, whatever the case is. You run a school. Anything you have, we will advertise it for you in the Ambassador's Pen, and keeping in mind that next edition of the Ambassador's Pen, international, well, it has always been international, but of course, coming off of the climate summit now, I'm telling you, we would have engaged with some high-level, dignitaries and diplomats, and many ones would have, connected with us through the links. So we have their emails, they have our emails for sure. They will be getting the magazines. They've received the previous magazines. They have sent us their information, hoping that we can do business in the future. So now you coming on board. Because listen, family, let me explain this. I told you before we came here to Ethiopia that when you advertise with us, we will be highlighting you at these summits. So said, so done. So all the people in our previous Kidemi, because we had Kidemi on our screen, and the pages were just going by and going by. We also, what we would have done, we would have made copies of specific, aspects of the magazine. I don't know if you can see this. The little glare there. But anyway, and we had them pinned on the wall. So people, if you advertise with us, like Brother Hewart Isaac, we had ads that were up from, you have Henderson's Roofing, all of these people, their ads were on the wall, they were seen on the screen because they advertised with us. So we said it and we did it. So this is what I'm showing you, the connections that we made, because if you have something to expose, if you have something to sell, if nobody knows about it, I mean, no one can order it, no one can come for it because they don't even know it's there. This is why marketing and promotion is very important. So it's not about supporting me as such or the mission. This is going to assist you in getting your name out there, getting your product out there, advertising with the ambassador's pen. Royal family, you know how to contact us. Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com. Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com. If you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. And of course, it takes some real eyes to realize the real lies that are amongst us. Remember, the link for the previous ambassador's pen is in the description below. Give thanks. I'm a second hello. Salam. It is all good. Blessed love, I am the Honorable Priest Isaac. I am an official priest within the realms of Rastafari of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. I also hold a certification in the craft of Astronomy from Politecnico de Milano in Italy. Our universe and its maker has always been an intriguing subject for humankind. Astronomy is the study of everything
in the universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Ancient astronomy is similar, but pays special attention to the physical and spiritual values of stars, planets, moons, and other celestial objects. It also brings in the terrestrial component, being things on an earthly plane, such as plants, human organs, and connects them to the heavenly bodies. In this course, you will learn the makeup of various planets and stars, how to locate them in the night sky, along with their associated constellations. You will also be taught about the earliest civilizations known for their astronomical comprehension, namely Kush, also known as ancient Ethiopia, Kemet, called Egypt today, the Dogons, and the Bozos, as well as the civilization of Sumer. You will also learn about black holes, their nature and origin, as well as how the ancients viewed them. Ancient astronomy is the mother of archaeoastronomy and astrotheology. Both subject areas are covered by the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Sign up today. Visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, or email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com, for more information.